Hey guys, it's John. In this video, I want to run through how you're going to get more leads off of your Instagram profile. Specifically, we're going to focus on stories today because stories are an incredibly useful tool to turn viewers into conversations. And if we can get enough conversations going, that we know that you're most likely to get the most accurate information across to your prospects or to your followers. And we know a percentage of those might want to continue and work with you. It's a huge opportunity. And if we get good at content and we can resonate well with stories and you can follow these steps here, then you're going to massively increase your chances of getting more clients. Simple as that. Because Instagram, the main demographic that use stories are the 30-plus-year-olds, and Instagram is more of a millennial market. TikTok's great for getting seen, but it's terrible for conversion. Instagram, really good for conversion. And I'll put this number up here, 19 out of 20. The reason I put that there is that is typically how many people won't reach out. 1 out of 20 will make the first move. The vast majority won't. And in the context of my client, Shane, this is exactly what we found. And he went from, I think he joined me around 2,400, around 2.5K per month he was earning. And, you know, just under 6 months later, it was actually 4 months, he got up to £22,000 per month by literally making the first move. It was a huge part. He had an audience which was very active, but they were waiting for the next photo shoot or the next promotion. And we changed the structure. We just needed to get the message out, and we needed to just get busy. And there were so many people out there. Once we found out they've been watching his journey the whole time, but we didn't call to action too much. We didn't practically engage too much. And it was massively responsible for him skyrocketing that his monthly income. And it came from us leveraging stories. So I want to take you through exactly what we do. And to be honest, this is exactly what I do with every single client I take on. I tell them to leverage stories as much as possible. I try and do it myself. So with stories, a couple of things we want to do. Obviously, 19 out of 20 people won't reach out. I put this here because this is just to break things down very quickly to give you context. If you look at your following right now, look how many followers you've got. This is the standard spread of interest in the market. And I'm going to break down each stage. And we're going to start at the bottom actually, because 60% of your following, they aren't in the market yet. They're not ready. They're not problem aware. And what that means for you as a fitness coach or an online coach is they probably haven't seen a Facebook memory of them when they look better. Or maybe they haven't had an uncomfortable experience while on holiday. They haven't had a comment. They haven't had that moment where they decide they want to make a change. 60% don't want to do anything. They're just casual. So we need to think about marketing towards the higher bracket because we're wasting our time really. And you'll find that ultimately this is what lead magnets are for, separate video. But 60%, vast majority, and it makes sense. Most people in the population of the world, they're probably not in the active market to lose weight, but some might be very soon, especially with today's obesity rates and how everything's going. So, I mean, for us, it's fantastic. We've got an ever-growing market. It's great, but general population, don't know. Then 20%, they're probably problem aware. At this point, they have seen that photo. They now know that they want to make a change. They're just not doing anything about it too much. Maybe it's not that painful. Maybe they haven't seen someone else overtake them. Maybe they haven't seen someone else get results where they look like them and they believe they can do it. They haven't had that trigger point, that moment of like, oof, I need that. And then you've got the bracket above that, 17%. These are actively researching. They are trying to find the method that best suits their route to progress. Do I do keto? Do I look at the carnivore diet? Do I look at the 5-2 diet? Should I fast? Should I follow that coach, that coach, that coach? This guy, I like this person. I resonate with them. I just don't know if it worked for me. That's basically that. The difference between 17 and 3 is, will it work for me? So the 3%, obviously, they've locked on to yourself, hopefully, or they're very determined. They go, right, this is the channel. This is the method that I'm going to use. I just need to kind of finalize a few bits and pieces. So why I'm telling you this is 1 out of 5, if you add those two at the top, 1 out of 5 people is within several conversations of moving forwards once they have the information. So if you look at your following, you break that down, what's 20% of your following? Those are the people you're kind of wanting to kind of approach or find and sieve through just casually to get into conversation with and to see what we can do further down the line with this. The others, your content will do the job of lifting them up. This is why I love collaboration posts, by the way, because if you collaborate and then people in the following see the person who's got a result and they know that person and they look at you, it's just massively pushes people up from like, oh, problem aware to like, yeah, I want to solve that. I want to solve that. And that person is them. So it skips up a layer. Faster, shorter sales cycle, faster inquiry rate. So that's the understanding. We're trying to find the 1 out of 5 within these conversations. We're not going to get everyone, is the key. So let's just start off with content. What are you going to put on your stories? Now, my horrendous drawing is basically anything that's personal to you. So this is where you can be a little bit more, I say, raw. You can be a little bit more casual, document really. Don't have to kind of polish everything up. You want to share your results, your stories, your client wins, and you want to show the inside of your system. That's a cog. You want to show how things are going on. You can talk about what you eat to some degree. You can talk about your training, but try and avoid that a little bit. You don't want to be too one-dimensional. This is where the personality has to come forward, and it takes reps to do this, to be honest. I'm naturally very introverted, so for me to be me more is a focal point I'm trying to do in my stories, because you'll find that that's what people like. That's ironically, they like the fluff around the topic. That's really important. And this is a rough schedule for what to post in the morning all the way to the evening. Now, at the time of this recording, it's like, what was it, early 2025. There's evidence that says you should delete your stories. In the morning, if you wake up and you delete the stories from the day before, that will actually boost your story views. So this is not all about optimizing or getting maximum exposure. However, it does help. If you get your story views up, more people see it, it's useful. So there's tools and tricks to this. And typically your first story of the day, can you make that easily watchable? i.e., speaking on your story is not easily watchable. So is there a meme? Is there something visual which has hook? What can you do to get 100% watch time on your story? If that's your first story, that will help spike your views along with deleting the stories from the day before. So that's not a bad way to start it. And then there's loads of different things. You could do something a little bit more raw. Again, anything that you've got going on in your life. This could be a picture. This could be you speaking. This could be something about the clients or the process. And then you could add context to that. This could be anything quite fun, casual. This could be like an offer, what you're going on, and maybe you're offering out a lead magnet and you want to give it to people. Maybe it's about your service, and then we'll get onto like how we're going to do the format of that. Then you could do results. Then you could do adding the context of that result. So physical result, maybe a bit of backstory. That you could do speaking, or you could just do several stories where you lay down key points and then a call to action at the end. That you don't have to follow, but it's just an idea of the different angles, trying to incorporate the different different approaches you can bring to stories. But the key thing here is you don't really have to plan too much. You have to be showing some form of results pretty frequently, because the stories, they are the people who follow you. They're the people who probably know you the most. And these are the people you want to show validation to over and over and over again, and a bit more context. So stories, I say it this way. If you look at, okay, imagine the feed posts. That's the photographer's content from a photo shoot, the polished edits, everything perfectly captured in the moment and then edited later. The videographer vlogging, that's your stories. So stories feel closer, they have a easier proximity to you. So you don't have to worry too much about editing them too much, but you've got to think about really just showing off what you're already doing in the day. And there's just some examples of what you can do. The one thing I will say is, if you are going to do a call to action, or if you're going to do some form of offer, let's just say maybe it's about your service, you've got something running a promotion right now, what you want to offer validation afterwards, like results. You want to add context of what those results are, maybe a bit more information, and then you want to do a call to action. And then for a bonus point, after the call to action, explaining what happens when someone inquires is not, or when someone takes that call to action, isn't a bad idea, because some people might not want to inquire because they don't know what happens. But if you explain, once you inquire or once you hit that button, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to say this, we're going to break down that, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do that, and then you're going to know everything. So you'll find that that could be enough to tip someone over the edge to inquire, and it does work. It does work quite well, adding that context after the call to action, adding like the reason of what's going to happen next. That can be the difference for some people. A little bit of a takeaway is try not to speak repeatedly. So imagine you're doing like a monologue and it lasts like 5 stories. That will cause people to skip probably, because they'll probably look at how small the story is at the top. And if there's no captions, if there's no text hooks, and it's really, really, really engaging, it's hard for people to sit and watch or sit and listen to you now. So you really want to use text more appropriately. And give people like little snippets, even if it's just chunks of text, like one story, chunk, next story, next chunk, next story, next chunk, so on and so forth. People are much more likely to sit and watch and read that and take that in rather than sit and just listen to you speak. The irony of me doing that to you now, but there you go. So that's a rough structure. Then we get onto the actual real value of stories, and this is the engagement pieces. So engagement pieces like polls, Q&As, rating scales, stickers, these are so useful for turning viewers into conversations. So again, once we've got the content up there, incorporating these elements, maybe one a day, you can alternate between the different ones, but this is what you're doing to basically convert and make it easy for people to kind of interact with you. Simple as that. Because if they react to one of these things, or if they react to a story in general, it's just a natural way to start a conversation. So this is all about creating inbound interest, inbound dialogue. Now, polls are by far the best, I would say, because it's so easy to click on it. And you have hard polls and soft polls. Hard polls is anything to do directly with the service or the problems or the pain points. So a good hard poll is like, what would you rather, July's, 12 weeks away, what would you rather? And then list down the options or the ideal outcomes that you know your target market want. That'd be a good hard poll. Then soft polls are literally Pepsi or Coke. The answer is Pepsi. So you can have tea or coffee, all that sort of stuff. It's the really casual. Soft polls, you get a lot more answers. Hard polls, you get few answers, but they're a lot more qualified. So 3 to 1 ratio of posting those a week. Maybe you could do a little bit more. Again, depends how many views you get. Depends how frequent you are. But if you want more conversations and you want to get more leads coming through, lean towards soft. If you want to qualify more and you're flooded, use hard to qualify a little bit more. But you should have at least one hard poll in per week. And then you've got Q&As, really good way to engage your audience, just get actual feedback. And then obviously reply to the answers in there to kind of build that connection. If you're stuck with that, just get your friends. And it's not bad, just sometimes you can put some stuff in yourself just to give you stuff to talk about. I mean, it's not the end of the world. You'll find with Q&As, if you've never done them before, a good way to do it is just do that initially and people will understand that there's a format. The quality of your answers are really good. Other people are doing it. And then that social cohesion will come in. It's like no one wants to put their first step forward. They wait for someone else to do it and then they can get engaged. So that's the thing. Rating scales are very good. New flavor of Monster, what we're saying, yes or no, like give them a rating of that. And we're testing this out right now, but again, coming up to summer, how confident would you feel in your swimwear on a beach? Or how confident would you feel right now, semi-naked on a beach? And then do a rating scale, something like that. Stickers are obviously very easy. Less committal on stickers, but again, it's just like instead of putting links in here, because links will massively lower your story views, again, you really don't want to take people off stories. Like sharing posts and sharing content to stories, sharing your feed posts onto here, it's not a great idea because they click on that, they'll take them out of the story function. People just want to stay in there. Even that, we talk about call to actions, taking people off Instagram to your landing page. That's tough, let alone trying to get people off the stories. So try and keep people within stories. If you want to share your content, screen record, put it up there, or put up the raw, edit it and put it there. But try not to get people off the platform. Like, so if you have got links, you want to put stuff out there, just say, click the sticker or message or reply or click this or click the poll. Get them to use these features to then offer out whatever or take them to wherever you want to take them, give them wherever you want to give. But if you want to probably do average at least one of these a day, alternate between them. Polls are easier to kind of engage with from our perspective or from the viewer's perspective. So look to engage those, use your personality, sense of humor. But this is a really good way to kind of take viewers and then start the conversation process. And then that's when we get on to probably the biggest thing and the biggest value I can give you on this video today is conversations, a rough overview. Now, again, I'm not a professional setter. I've taken people to calls. I've done this with my own business and I've helped every single client with mine do this with their business. And I'll say, I am very good at doing this within the fitness market. So it's doing this for if you're charging anywhere between 150 to 250 per month for coaching, boom, I can do this, I can help you. So first off, golden rule, remove the outcome. Do not focus on getting clients. That is the number one thing I'll say to you, because if you go with that intent and you're wanting to take them someone or you're wanting to book calls, you will destroy your chances because people just feel it. You need to separate that part of the process. That comes later. All you got to do is just plant seeds and be social. If you think about it like this, when someone watches a reel, a view is not 100% view, is it? It could be a 1% view. It could be a 5% view. I don't even know what Instagram cuts the bottleneck off of what a view is, but people can view your content, but nothing's going to beat starting a conversation or getting into a conversation to really create that resonance or lodge in their memory. So you're just increasing your chances and actually people getting to notice you. And that's a big thing. Awareness is huge. I guarantee if your audience only knew exactly what they need help with, how you can help them, you'd be overwhelmed with interest if they really knew those things to the core and they weren't distracted as hell. So it's about awareness. So conversations, remove the outcome and just be social. So anyone reacting to this, build off the conversation. if they react to the poll, whatever they say is wrong. Actually, no, you could just troll them. It depends. But again, sense of humor, just be social. Use the context of the story or the topic of the story to build the conversation. If you get stuck, look at what they've got going on their content and then maybe anything. And this is where authenticity is really important. Anything that generally interests you. If you find that you really struggle with this, pick a different topic or just don't bother. Maybe try another day when they have something else they posted. And if you really struggle with this, you can drop me a message below. More than happy to kind of go through this with you because sometimes it just takes walking it through in your exact circumstance. I also cover this in my course. It's completely free, 8 hours of how to get your first 5,000 per month. This is part of the process. This is part of the middle of the funnel. So yeah, I can help you one-on-one. If you want to do it yourself, go check out that link, get cracking. Now, once you've done that, you want to get to the point of like, does this person need help? So two things here. If it's flowing naturally and then the conversation's going that way, something as simple as, well, I'd love to help you in any way you can. Looks like you're doing X, Y, and Z. How is that going? And then see how it goes. If you feel like the conversation isn't going anywhere, a good thing to do is like leave before it pieces out. So I'm saying, I'm sorry, I've got a dash, really enjoyed speaking to you. Just want to let you know, if you have any questions anytime, or if there's anything that you see off my content that you need more information on, please message me here and I'll do whatever I can to help you. Have a great day, mate. Catch up later. Something like that. So just give them the invite or make it clear that you're offering to help them. And that's all we're trying to do. Up front, we just want to help. And that's all we want to do. I genuinely believe if you help enough other people get what they want, you will get what you want. It is about helping up front. And if you do that, that's how you remove a lot of the tension within this process, because if you just genuinely want to help people and do it in the right way, you'll get far. So that offer help, as I said, you might be able to kind of leave the conversation and put it there if you don't know where it's going. But if it flows quite well, this is where you can find out, okay, well, is this something you need one-to-one help with? Do you need close support on this right now? And just see what they say. Because if they need one-to-one help, that's like, okay, maybe it's about this person. Maybe this person's in the 1 out of 5. If they're a bit tentative and they're not really, maybe this person isn't in the 1 out of 5, they're in the 4 out of 5. That's where you can offer a free resource, maybe a lead magnet. Or you can give something out and say, maybe this will help. Try that and then maybe give some voice notes as well. The key with this is just scope it out. See, there's no point trying to push people onto calls who aren't ready. But similarly, if someone generally needs help, don't be afraid to help them. It's literally like that. And I put these cut-off points here because this can take time. That might not happen in one conversation. That might happen in 12, 20, maybe even 30, 40, 100, whatever. But again, you can be social and like bide your time, or just be a decent human being and just be authentic. You might find people come straight through to help. If it's off a hard poll, you might be helping them up front. And then similarly, if you get stuck here and you don't know what to do, you can present the offer, you give them out a lead magnet or a free resource, and again, that could end that process. My point here is this isn't one continual flow, and you shouldn't expect the outcome of going, right, I'm going to find those 1 out of 5s, take them straight through every single one, because it realistically doesn't work like that. You want to build trust in your audience and you want to be decent. So there's typically stages where you're just nurturing and just helping up front. And it takes nuance. It does take a bit of understanding and reps, but once you understand, find out if they're the person at the 1 out of 5 and they need help right now. And if you struggle with that, just reach out below. More than happy to help. And then you get onto, right, I know this person wants my help. This is where you can get into, right, what is their goal? So this is a very basic framework, works very, very well. You don't need to make it more complicated than this. But it literally is, what do they want? What's in their way? Wouldn't be a bad idea to show them a little bit more about how you enter the equation. So once you find out where they're trying to get to and you find out what the main stumbling block is, you want to show them, maybe it's a PDF of like how you work, maybe it's a video, maybe it's just voice notes at this stage, but describe a little bit about, okay, how would you approach that? How's the typical way you solve this? Because this is something I can help with. This is the typically way I do it. And then after that, give an expectation. So once you've given that, given their goal and their struggle, where do you expect them to be? You know, from the context of your experience, how would you solve it? And then what outcome would they get? And that's it, really. That's literally it. There's no need to overly complicate it and then use scripts per se at this point. If you struggle with that, again, I can help provide direct examples, but it does depend on your personality. It does depend on who you are. You don't want to be a robot, but you want to find out key stages and keep them on track and find out if you could generally help them. And given that that's your predicted outcome, if you could solve their problem and their goal would be achieved in X time frame, or their goal will be surpassed in X time frame. So if you're posting on your stories and then you're providing these engagement pieces, you're going to create easy opportunity for people to engage with you. You can reply to that, or you can go direct. So off the content, let's just say you're putting stories up, maybe you go onto their stories, swipe up, look who's viewing you. And then from that point onwards, that's the market which are the most informed about who you are. Wouldn't be a bad idea to look at their stories and resonate with them. Maybe they've got topics. Maybe they go on holiday somewhere. Maybe you can offer a recommendation of somewhere you ate on that where they are on holiday. Maybe you just ask questions. Again, be sincere, be genuine. If they're at the ballet or they're doing something to do with ballerinas and you don't give a flying fuck about ballerinas, do not show interest in ballerinas. Most random example ever. But you don't have to fake it. That's the key thing, because, you know, people can tell. So just wait for the next one. Wait for the next story they might put up and might engage with. So you don't always have to wait for them to come to you. You can always use their stories to kind of be authentic and make genuine connections. And again, just networking. You have an obligation to help people if you think you can help them. You just got to connect in an authentic way. And another thing, last thing we can do off the back of your content is, obviously when you get new followers, this is outside of stories, but it works really well. When people follow you, just send a voice note. Again, if you just say, appreciate the follow, if there's anything I can do to help you, or if you have any questions at any time from what you see of my content, please message me. I'll do what I can. Just something genuine like that can go a long way. And if you just offer that or if you lay down the expectation of you will help them and you offer the invite, some people will take it, some won't. It's a numbers game when it comes to this. And we know that 1 out of 5 might be in the market of signing up within sort of 6 weeks. The vast majority won't, but that's what content's for. But hope that helps. If you need one-on-one help with this, you can book on a call below. Do this for a living. If you're not at that stage yet, I've got a free course, 8 hours, how to get your first 5K per month. See you in the next one.